how do you join the face frame parts together? Well, I'll show you the way I do it. I'll tell you the way I don't do it first. I don't use the pocket hole screws. I know that's pretty common, especially with, amateurs, do-it-yourselfers. No, don't do it. I mean, it works. It's easy. It's okay. It's not a very strong connection, and I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I mean, it has its uses. I have a pocket hole jig from Craig or whatever it is, but for building cabinets, no, it's kind of it's not my preferred method. We'll put it that way. The way I first started doing it when I first started making cabinets is, let's say this is a stile and a rail that are going to join together. What I was doing is I was taking my router and I was routing out a mortise right here. I had a little jig that I used, that I made, and it worked out really well. And then rails, I would leave the rails longer by however much they needed to be, about 3/4 on either side. And I would actually cut out a tenon on this end, and that tenon would slip right into that mortise. And it made a really nice, strong connection, and it was awesome. Only drawback is it took forever. Okay, routing out each one of these, it took like a matter of a few minutes each, and we have dozens of these to do. These things, the tenons on the ends of the rails, same thing. So my brother-in-law, who's also a woodworker, he turned me on to this thing, and you're going to want to get yourself one too if you do cabinet work. The Festool Domino. This guy, it's versatile. It's for all kinds of different things, but for joining cabinet face frames, it just makes it so easy. So here's what it is. It's like a biscuit joiner, except way better. Instead of stupid little biscuits that you could snap in half if you wanted to, it uses these dominoes, and there's different sizes. All right, they're solid wood. I think they're made of beech. So nice solid wood and hardwood. And what it does is it's got this little kind of weird round oscillating blade in there. It's like a router bit, sort of, or like a drill bit. And it turns and goes side to side at the same time. So it routes out a perfect mortise for this thing. So what you do then is, rather than a mortise in here and a tenon in here and you stick it in, you cut the mortise in both and then use the domino as what's called a floating tenon, and then you glue it in and it goes right in there, and it makes a super strong connection. I mean, like, stupid strong. I've never had one of these break on me, and I've tried. And then there's different size dominoes. I mean, this is the size I use for these. It's a 5mm. Of course, it's Festool, so they're going to use communist units instead of the good old-fashioned American system. I realize the stupidity of what I just said, I know. But anyways, these 5mm ones are good for, smaller things and for cabinet face frames, that kind of stuff. They're also good for glue-ups if you're gluing up boards, to make wider panels. They're not necessarily necessary, but they help. They help keep things aligned. So I usually, if I'm doing big glue-ups, I like to put in a couple of these. They keep everything perfectly aligned and stronger. They make all different sizes. They got smaller ones, 4mm, 6mm, 8, 10mm. So these big beefy ones. So if you're doing like a big table glue up or something, put some big ones in there. It's awesome. Now, it's not a cheap tool. It's actually pretty darn expensive, but it paid for itself in the first cabinet job I did, I think. Basically, what you do, you got this nice little viewing window right here, and when you have two pieces you want to join together, let's say you want to put this right here, you basically just draw a line like that. Then you'll line that up right on the line. You turn it on and you just press it in, and then you do the same right here. Turn it on, press it in, and there you go. Now, it's got dust collection. I've mentioned before in another video with another Festool tool that I had, I didn't buy the actual Festool adapter because I 3D printed it with my son's 3D printer. A lot cheaper that way. But the dust collection on here is awesome. It sucks it right out. You don't have to worry about, you know, emptying dust out. That was another problem when I was routing these things, is then I'd have to stop every couple seconds, do that, get all the dust out of there. It takes forever. This thing, quick and painless. Also, for doing stuff like this, there are a couple jigs that come with it. So this guy, for example, I can stick this on here. Kind of snaps right into place and tightens. Oh, did I mention, by the way, this plate here raises and lowers. You can also do different angles. You can plunge straight into something. You can go at different angles. Never had to use that feature, but it's there if I need it. You change the height up and down for the thickness of the material you're going into, how far you want the tenon from, or the mortise from the surface of the board. So all kinds of adjustability there. Oh, how deep you're going in, which is going to have to do with how long of a tenon you're using. That's all adjustable. And again, the only drawback is it's all in millimeters. Those darn Europeans, you know. But this jig right here, you set this to the width you want and you center it just right. And then for doing, I got it set for doing these 1.5 inch wide cabinet rail pieces. It sticks right on there. It holds it right where you want it, and it's going to make a perfectly centered tenon. So then you don't even have, or perfectly centered mortise. You don't even have to draw the line on these. You just go ahead, stick it on there, and you go. And then with, let's see, I think there's I could take off the one side and then have it so it's just a stopper on the one side, you know, and then I can do all of these lined up just right. Anyways, all kinds of cool stuff. That's one feature. Here's another jig. If you're doing, oh, there it goes. If you're doing a big glue up of a bunch of panels, or of a bunch of, you know, domino, if you're doing a big glue up for some panels, to make a panel, you can use this guy. This basically snaps into here, and this one into there. And what this does is it allows you to put mortises in at repeating intervals. So you just set these little guys where you want them on the scale, and then, you know, you make your one mortise, and then you stick this tab into that mortise and make your next one, and then stick this into that one and make your next one. So if you got some long boards you're trying to glue up and you don't want them you know, doing this kind of stuff on you when you're gluing them up, you use the dominoes to help align everything, right? And you can use this jig to make your dominoes exactly every so-and-so inches or millimeters, you know. And it looks kind of like a spaceship. I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. Alright, one more jig. This guy, let's see, what does this one do? I don't even remember. Shoot, what is this? Where does this jig go and what does it do? Oh, that's right, it goes down here. This is for, again, it's adjustable, but you set it for doing the ends. If I want to go the same distance from this end, so that this centered tenon ends up right into there. And then you just pull that down and put the other one down to do the other side. Anyways, the domino. So I'm going to show you how that goes. Getting all these things drilled and or routed, and then getting these cabinet parts joined together. Alright, I'll show you this domino thing. I always like to start with a test piece, so gonna use the test piece. Basically, oh no, this test piece is too short. Let's find a longer test piece. Alright, Here we go. That's gonna go on there. And this just kind of slides right on. That's it. What did that take? About 2.5 seconds. And there it is. Nice pretty little mortise cut in there. Perfect mortise. So now I'm going to cut mortises in all of these rail ends, and then in the right places on the stiles, and pop them all together. Alright, with all frames cut and all the domino mortises cut out, routed out, we can start assembling. I started assembling this not realizing I didn't put the camera on. So anyways, you put the little domino, you cover it with glue, you put it into the mortise, then you put glue on the rest of the surface and on the other side of where the domino's going in, and you press the piece in. It's that easy. Wipe off the excess, squeeze out. Better to wipe it off now than have to spend hours sanding later. There's one. Now this is a multi-part. Save the most complicated, well, didn't save it. I'm doing the most complicated cabinet first. I don't know why. But there's several parts to this thing. It's a weird one. So we're gonna do it. Let's see, this piece will go next. I'm in trouble even figuring out what I'm doing here. Taking the domino, putting some glue on it, add some glue in the little groove. Press it in or use a little rubber mallet. Sometimes they're a little stubborn. At least it's good to know it's nice and tight. And we want some glue on the rest of that joint. Glue in the domino hole, mortise, whatever. And line up right. And boom, there it goes. Yeah, I put too much glue on that one. Use the next domino to wipe it off. Boom, look at that. We got some pre-glued dominoes now. Way too much glue. It's a nice flush joint though. Now let's turn it like this. Set her down. And we'll do these other ones here. Domino's already got plenty of glue on it. That makes it easy. Now this style is going to go right here, this part of the frame. For this, put the dominoes into this piece and then insert it. First a little glue in each domino hole. I know, I keep saying domino. Domino this, domino that. Hey man, that's what they're called, okay? I didn't come up with the name. Double wide cabinet with 6 drawers in it. Hence all the different frame parts going across. Alright. Get some glue into these and onto the surfaces. Now the more glue surface you have, the stronger the joint. So you want to make sure all your surfaces are fully covered with glue. some glue on these dominoes too. Now when we get this thing on some clamps, that's when we'll be able to really tighten all this up. Which means I gotta move pretty quickly. I want this glue to start setting on me before I'm ready. When I'm done putting this together, this will be far superior to anything made by pocket hole screws. See, this is tricky. Everything's got to be lined up just right. Everything's got to go in the right order. There we go. But when it isn't, it locks it all together nice and tight. Now I got to lay this on the clamps and get it clamped quickly. Alright, well that was a little bit complex because I didn't have clamps wide enough for how wide this cabinet is. It's over 5 feet wide and I don't have any clamps that are over 5 feet wide. So I had to get a little creative, double up a little bit on these, but yeah, I think that'll work. I'm gonna let this set, do all the other ones, and then we'll be back. Alright, there we go. Got all the cabinet frames glued up. I would just need a slight little bit of sanding over at where the joints are, which won't take very long at all because that domino does a good job keeping everything nice and flush. So there we go.